Only there is a shadow under this red rock. Come in under the shadow of this red rock, and I will show you something different from either your shadow at morning striding behind you, or your shadow at evening rising to meet you. I will show you fear in a handful of dust. A handful of dust. It's one of those poetic phrases which has long since slipped its moorings and found its way into popular culture and popular consciousness. But scholars of the wasteland, an erudite company to which I do not belong, associate it with a verse from the 3rd chapter of the biblical book Ecclesiastes. All go to one place. All are from the dust, and all turn to dust again. And those are words which Christians associate with this time of year. We hear them when, in normal circumstances, ash is placed upon our foreheads at the beginning of Lent. Remember that you are dust, and to dust you shall return. The first book of the Bible, Genesis, locates the origins of humanity in the dust of the earth. In its 2nd chapter, the author recalls that God forms a man from the dust of the ground and breathes life into his nostrils. You, me, each of us is a handful of dust. And T.S. Eliot speaks to the terror that knowing that can breed in us. Dust. It is blown away by the wind. It is changed to mud and slime by the rain. It is what we wipe carefully from our shoes before we tread on the carpet. It's what we tread disdainfully underfoot. A handful of that. Is that what we are? Is that all we are? We fear. And Eliot writes of the landscape of fear, the terrain of, in his words, stony rubbish that surrounds us. A heap of broken images where the sun beats, and the dead tree gives no shelter, the cricket no relief, and the dry stone no sound of water. A wasteland. Lent begins tomorrow, and the observance of Lent can pay undue attention to the desolation and abandonment that Eliot describes. Self-denial, worthy books, impossible commitments to prayer and holiness, all these can be born out of our frightened mortality and out of our determination to read, renounce, and resolve our way out of the wasteland. But there is another way of looking at this. If we are handfuls of dust, then we might ask, whose hand? I love it that on the Sunday next before Lent, we always read an account of the transfiguration of Jesus. Before we descend into the valley, we are given a glimpse of glory, of heaven's light shining upon a mountaintop. We always read it because it's where the journey of Lent is taking us, to glory. The Transfiguration is the trailer which whets our appetites for the main feature. The glory of the mountaintop subsides and the disciples are left alone. But we have seen it. And on Easter Day, we will see it again. Only this time, the glory will never fade. You and I may be dust, but dust is part of the creation that God has called good. It is God's hand that scoops us from the dust and forms us. We have come from God. We return to God. There is no alternative ending here unless we turn our faces against God. We begin in glory, we end in greater glory. In Cyprus, the beginning of Lent is marked not by the imposition of ashes, but by the flying of kites. Carried aloft, tugging at their strings, kites strain to climb ever higher. If we would let them, they would reach for heaven. Perhaps this Lent, we might fly kites. We might remember the dust from which we have come. Remember the dust to which we will return, and rejoice, held securely in the hand of our God. Allow me to pray in the words of one of the hymns we cannot sing. From glory to glory advancing, we praise thee, O Lord. Thy name with the Father and Spirit be ever adored. From strength unto strength we go forward on Zion's highway to appear before God in the city of infinite day. Thanksgiving and glory and worship and blessing and love, one heart and one song have the saints upon earth and above. O Lord, evermore to thy servants thy presence be nigh. Ever fit us by service on earth for thy service on high. Amen. Enjoy what's left of Shrove Tuesday and have a blessed, holy and joyful Lent.